Hello everyone, we hope you enjoyed our back to school special where the crew played Drawful 2. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out on App TV's YouTube channel.
It was a lot of fun, but now that school is going strong, it's time to get back to the gaming news.
Today we're returning to our first news story of the season. DnD is releasing a new campaign book, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden.
That sounds really interesting, and so is the Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit, which could have major changes for mobile games going forward.
The trailer for Call of Duty Cold War dropped last week and was then censored in China.
The Sims 4 also made an announcement. A new expansion pack is coming out in September 8th. It's coming from a long time ago, and in a galaxy far, far away.
We still haven't heard from Bianca since last week when she disconnected from the show suddenly, but we did find a flash drive with a file called Ghost of Tsushima on it when we went to check on her at her apartment. We'll take a look at that later.
And for this week's analysis, we're having Nintendo analyst Ruby Hall's thoughts on the latest Direct Mini, the possibility of a Nintendo Switch 2.
Sounds like a great news episode to start the new season. Let's get into it. I'm Sydney Thompson.
And I'm Bryce Gates, and we hope you enjoy your stay here
on Pixel Peak. A new campaign book is coming to the world of D&D, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. The campaign book is to be released on September 15th. To celebrate the release of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, Wizards of the Coast will be holding an online gaming event for D&D fans everywhere on September 18th to the 20th. Since the event will be held online, there will be no limits on how many people can attend, like in previous events. The event will also be hosting the biggest game of D&D ever on September 19th, allowing players from all over the world to join in. There will also be community-led panels, ways for fans to watch the gameplay of the game, and announcements. One of these such announcements being of another rulebook for D&D, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. The rulebook was first announced Monday, August 24th, and is said to have similarities to another rulebook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, being like an addition to it. While this rulebook will not be containing any new classes, it will offer new subclasses and new ways to customize your character for your gameplay. More information is sure to be announced at the event. The online games for the event will be held via Zoom, Discord, Roll20, and Fantasy Grounds, the games being led by D&D Adventures League, Wizards of the Coast's official organized playgroup. All games are ticketed. The price to play Friday and Sunday is $5, while Saturday's games are $10. The ticketing fees will be donated to Extra Life, a charity for kids. If this interests you, do take time to create your own low-level character and sign up to play at yawningportal.dnd.wizards.com. So get ready and prepare to roll some dice.
Game producer Activision Blizzard released a teaser trailer for their new game, Call of Duty Cold War, on August 19th. The game is projected to release on November 13th of this year and will have a campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone mode. The campaign will take you to locations such as East Berlin, Vietnam, Turkey, and the Soviet KGB headquarters. Cold War also promises a new generation of multiplayer, which is planned to be revealed on September 9th. The game will initially release on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. The game will also be released to next-gen consoles when they become available. The initial teaser trailer included clips from the Cold War with a narration by Soviet KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov being played over top of it. It came under Chinese attention due to a second-long clip from the Tiananmen Square protest appearing in the trailer. The Chinese government's allowed the trailer to play, but replaced the clip with a black screen. 2 days later, Activision Blizzard released a new trailer that excluded the image of the protests. This is not the first time that the company has come into controversy in China, however. In 2018, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was banned in cafes across Shaanxi for including a fictional bombing of the Tiananmen Square.
But on the other hand, on August 13th, Epic Games, the creators of Fortnite, added an alternate payment method for their in-game currency. This other option allowed the same quantity of V-Bucks for 20% off and was labeled as an Epic Direct Payment. Apple and Google then removed Fortnite from their respective app stores and are preventing any future updates from rolling out on iOS and Android. Those who still have the game on their devices can continue playing the current version of the game. Epic then launched prepared antitrust lawsuits against both Apple and Google. These lawsuits target the commission that the targeted companies take from each and every purchase made through their app stores, a healthy 30% cut. While the App Store wasn't intended to make profits when it was launched in 2008, It is estimated the company took a commission of $13 billion from sales in 2019. Google hasn't revealed their sales data from last year, but analytics firm Sensor Tower estimated Google receiving $5 billion from their Play Store. In recent news, Apple stated that they would also remove Epic's access to the Unreal Engine on Apple platforms if Epic Games had not adhered to the App Store's policies by August 28th. The Unreal Engine in question allows many app developers to create their games. After a hearing on August 24th, U.S. District Judge Rogers restricted Apple from taking this action, but allowed them to keep Fortnite off their store in the meantime.
And for our next news article, we'll be going about a year ago. Galaxy's Edge came to Disneyland and Disney World, but due to the state of the world, it's not safe to travel to a faraway location of Batuu. Or is it? It has been announced that Galaxy's Edge is coming to The Sims 4 as a game pack on September 8th, titled Star Wars Journey to Batuu. For anyone who doesn't know much about The Sims, it's a single-player life simulation game. You're able to customize your own avatars, build and customize houses, and so much more with its variety of expansion packs, such as the Eco Lifestyle, Discover University, Realm of Magic, Strangerville, and now the Galaxy from Far, Far Away. With Journey to Batuu, your Sims will be transported to the planet and be able to wield their own lightsabers. In the game pack, you'll even be able to see characters from the park itself, like Vi Maradi, a resistance spy who is the main character of the park. But she also will not be the only character you will see, so be sure to check it out when it arrives.
As previously mentioned, when looking for Bianca, we didn't find her, but we did find her review of Ghost of Tsushima. Let's check it out.
蒙古国が対馬に襲来した。血も涙もなく、ただひたすらに暴虐だ。我が方は80、無勢なれど対馬の民を守らねばならない。今日俺はこの命を捨てる。船が海を覆っている。
死を恐れるな。飲み込まれるぞ。習わし、武勇、誉れ、それが我らが道だ。我らこそ島の勇士。我らこそモノノフだ。
Ghost of Tsushima is a PlayStation 4 exclusive produced by Sucker Punch Productions and was released on July 17, 2020. The gist of the game is that you are the last remaining samurai to save the island of Tsushima from the Mongols, which, fun fact, this game is based off of real-life historical events. In 1274, Mongolians really did take over Tsushima, a tiny island off the coast of Japan. You play as a young samurai named Jin Sakai, a lord in Japan whose one goal is to save his home from the Mongols. Ghost of Tsushima is like the perfect mix between Red Dead Redemption and Assassin's Creed while still making it its own game. In the beginning, you're given different options. I chose to play the game in Japanese dub with English subtitles. While the voice acting itself is awesome, the dub doesn't really match up with the libs often and can sometimes ruin the mood. Keep that in mind if you plan on playing in Japanese dubbing like I did. There's also a gorgeous filter you can put over the game called Kurosawa mode, which commemorates the great Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. Keep in mind, though, you will miss some beautifully colored shots if you do go with the Kurosawa option. A stealth game that takes place in feudal Japan has been the dream of many gamers for quite some time now, and Ghost of Tsushima really delivered. It has really excellent scenery and an amazing combat system with 4 different kinds of fighting styles. There are moments in the game where I would just look around at the scenery of Tsushima as well, completely taken aback from what I was seeing. One of my favorite places in particular was the Golden Temple in the earlier parts of the game. Somehow, Sucker Punch made a huge map seem interesting no matter where you end up going. Different environments, different quests, different people, it's quite the exciting journey. However, it's extremely deep as well. Jin struggles with the idea of becoming more of a ghost rather than the samurai the people of Tsushima can depend on. When I first began playing the game, I was under the impression that it would be a game that would make me take on most enemies head-on, as that is the samurai code and way. I just remember seeing how beautiful the concept design was for it and knew I had to play and review it. I knew nothing else about the game. Imagine my delight and surprise when I realized it was primarily a stealth game, which, right off the bat, I can tell you, their sneak mechanics are pretty sick. Jin has focused hearing, and his outfits can even have special perks that make you sneakier and stronger. My only issue was the fact that your companion that was sneaking with you could be out in the open and no one would detect her. That's just a nitpicky thing, however, and didn't really intrude on my gaming. The fighting and sneaking mechanics are to die for in this game. They're easy to get a grasp of, which is my favorite thing, and they're fun to actually play with. The companions are also a good add-in. Despite the sneaking around issue, they're strong and interactive. Almost all the conversations during a mission with Jin will allow you to answer a question how you would like to answer. It helps you learn more about Jin and the characters in the world surrounding him. Jin struggles with going against the honor code of the samurais in order to do what he knows and believes is right for Tsushima. Throughout the game, you're introduced to different characters, namely Yuna, the girl who's trying to open up Jin to becoming more of a sneaky fighter, Shimura, his uncle, Ishikawa, a great archer, Ryuzo, an old friend, and Masako, an old friend from the Adichie clan. These characters help you learn new abilities throughout the game, such as becoming an assassin, learning archery, having cool gadgets, and how to fight properly. Every choice you make in this game has an impact on Jin and who he ends up becoming. There are 2 different endings in the game. From haikus to little fox statues you make a prayer at, all of these things help Jin grow and develop as a character. I've heard people say he's boring, but I don't think that's the case at all. It takes a lot to abandon your way of life for a new one, especially something like the Samurai Code. That's literally for life. The villain of this game, Kutan Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, is also an excellent villain. He has no remorse and does horrible, terrible things while at the same time coming off as calm and collected. He also knows where to hit Jin where it hurts and even throws him off a bridge at one point. It's pretty intense. The different kinds of enemies are also fun. They're a bit repetitive but increase in difficulty to beat as the game goes on, so it's not really noticeable. Ghost of Tsushima is about 40 to 50 hours of gameplay, which in itself is a long game, but it still manages to make you want to keep playing even when the credits have rolled. The upgrades in the game for both Jin himself, his outfit, and his weapons was something I also enjoyed and want to touch on. I usually don't care for upgrades and find them kind of boring, but I know they're necessary. This time around, though, I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I had to go out of my way to get really rare items or kill off any silly animals. I would go on a mission, come back to rest up, and then realize I had tons of material to upgrade my weapons and outfit. The game flows seamlessly together as well. You barely need the map to know where you're going. You can depend on the flow of the wind and use the surrounding area to figure out where you are with smokestacks and the like. You know something will always be around the corner in this game, which is part of the reason why I couldn't put it down. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima and still plan on playing it even after this episode airs. The controls, the characters, the story, the scenery, and even the tiny little dragonflies and yellow birds they put into this game all work together to make it the masterpiece that it is. If I can offer one piece of advice, it's to not rush this game. Really enjoy it and take time to explore the beautiful island of Tsushima and get good at fighting in the way of the samurai. And with that, I rate this game a top of the mountain games. I hope you all have a great week.
Nintendo released their second Direct Mini Partner Showcase on August 26th. The Direct was chock full of new content and featured various remasters to awaken some nostalgia in Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy fans. So, Ruby, what can you tell us about what Final Fantasy is up to lately? I've heard talk of a few remasters coming up.
So first things first, they're releasing Collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legend on the Nintendo Switch. These are 3 Final Fantasy RPGs that originally came out on the Game Boy, and they're essentially getting Switch ports, and they come with a couple quality of life changes, like a fast forward feature and a few other features to help the transition over to Switch.
To keep up more to modern standards. So, what new features does Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles bring with it?
So Crystal Chronicles is a different game. It's a remaster of an older game, so it comes with like HD graphics, it comes with new English voiceovers, and an updated soundtrack. Plus, they added some UI improvements and added some extra dungeons. for that bit of content.
Little something new thrown in there. Do you think a Nintendo Switch 2 is on its way? 2021 seems to be looking more likely, according to recent speculation at Bloomberg News and The Verge.
It could definitely be likely to compete with the new Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 releases. The Xbox and PlayStation will have these super high fidelity graphics, and with the Switch in its current state, it can be a little hard to compete. So Nintendo may want to update their platform, but sometimes they just might not need to because it is a portable console, so it is kind of hard to get to that level without making large sacrifices. So I can see it go either way, but if they want to do anything like with what they did to the Nintendo 3DS, I think a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro could totally be in the future.
All right. So Nintendo is set to release Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory on November 13th, 2020. This game is set to include one new chapter, but besides that, what do you think will draw fans to this new game?
So Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is actually a rhythm game. There have been Kingdom Hearts rhythm games in the past, but this is a new one. Comes out with new songs, soundtracks from the series. It'll show like best of certain moments in the Kingdom Hearts series, and it'll feature rhythm-based battles.
Interesting. Just like a compilation of things. So what other new releases can we look forward to?
There's quite a lot that was listed in this direct. There's Fuser, which is from the creators of Rock Band. It's about mixing songs and like making your own thing. There's Taiko no Tatsujin. They're making an RPG for that. Just Dance 2021. There's going to be a Minecraft Dungeons DLC. There's going to be Jump Force Deluxe, which is a Switch port for Jump Force. That's an anime fighting game. So that'll be interesting. And there's also Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, which is like an anime soccer game, which looks pretty cool.
Wow, that's a lot of new stuff. Do you have high hopes for these new releases, or were you expecting a bit more from this Nintendo Direct?
I think what was in this Direct was pretty cool. There's definitely a lot for RPG fans and Square Enix fans. There's definitely a lot to unpack here and a lot to look forward to.
All right, well, Ruby, thank you for your time. As you've now heard, there seems to be a lot of exciting things to pay attention to when it comes to Nintendo in the next coming months. That's all for this week with Nintendo News.
And that concludes our first regular episode of Season 5. Thank you all for tuning in.
I'm so glad to be back on Pixel Peak. Too bad the episode's already over.
That's all right. We'll be back again next week. You can keep up to date by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on Pixel Peak App TV.
That is the best way to be reminded about new Pixel Peak episodes coming out every Monday afternoon at noon. They premiere on watchapptv.com, Sky Best Channels 20 and 1020, Spectrum News Channel 198, or on App State's Campus Television Channel 23.3.
And of course, we have our incredible crew to thank for another great episode. Thanks to writers Rebecca Larson and Josh Beal, Nintendo analyst Ruby Hall, game reviewer Bianca Bortoluzzi, and producers Nick Corbin, Elise Taylor, Haley Cipher, and Jacob Barber for another week of impeccable gaming industry content.
Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed your stay
on Pixel Peak.
Ryan Little.